there is not what you want to do. Those mules are very expensive, and these Marines are very, very cheap. So these shields making a big difference here. We did see the sniping of that medevac. Those medevacs are going to play a huge part in keeping these Marines alive. So right now, we see a Thor in the base going to be playing defensively, and we see ground weapons, ground vehicle weapons. We don't have air vehicles. What they're called. So we do see the weapons upgrade coming in there for the Thors. We do see a lot of Banelings, so we're going to see a lot of splash damage on those Marines. Those Marines just do not do so well as far as acid is because they are light units, and not the drum. As these Banelings do 35 damage to a Marine, so basically that's not a place you want to be as a Marine, especially if the stem, those Banelings are going to one-shot you. We do see the Infestor here, and we see the Burrow coming in there, and 12 more Banelings queuing up right there. Nice placement of the army, kind of tucking it off to the side, so if Drewbie moves out with his force like he has been, if he could catch him right here, this is a place you do not want to be, cutting off the retreat, forcing the units to engage, and these Banelings, we'd be more than happy to oblige those units to doom. And we do see the small static defense right there for the expansion right there, and we see Haypro spiking the island, making it basically where if Drewbie wants to take that expansion, he's going to have to wait because the creep will have to recede before he can actually go down there. We do see level 2 weapons coming in for Drewbie. We see more and more medevacs joining this army. This is quite the sizable army. Let's go take a look at the army tab. We're seeing, actually, Haypro is ahead by about 20, but Drewbie is feeling confident moving up here, going to be taking this expansion right here and throwing down 3 bunkers and a turret. So Drewbie making basically a nice static defense move up here, pushing out, claiming more of the map as his, not allowing his enemy to freely move around, as the tanks are sieged up, will do so much damage to anything that chooses to move up here. Guarantee you this is going to turn into a planetary fortress. So let's go take a look at the productions tab. We do have level 2 carapace coming down for Haypro. Haypro going to make his units that's more resilient, and in response, Haypro is going to be getting this hatchery, but we do see a couple of Marines moving out here, trying to harass this hatchery, but seeing there's so many Zerglings, that one Marine got caught, totally cut down by all the claws of the Zerglings, but the rest of his buddies were able to make it home in time to jump in those bunkers. And there are so many Banelings here. This is going to be so brutal when these Banelings do actually get in there, especially with these Infestors and the fungal growth going down here. We do see the Zergling, and they're running for the mineral line, choosing not to engage. We do see actually a counter engagement right here on those bunkers. Meanwhile, we see fungal growth going down on these SCVs. We do see the Banelings trying to get in the mineral line. Yes, we do see a couple of them go off. We do see, however, this planetary force are getting pissed off and laying a crap ton of fire on these Zerglings. Zerglings are going to melt before that. We see another fungal growth going down on these units. The Thor doing a good job of soaking up the damage from the Banelings, and the medevacs desperately trying to heal its forces. So we saw all those suicide units go down. We saw the complete gutting of the middle line. But right now, we do see Haypro in a bad position because he could lose this high yield right there, and that would not be a good trade-up, as we do see fungal growth going down on those units, keeping them at bay. We see more and more units trying to come up here. We see the hatchery right here falling to that, and more Zerglings running down here, trying desperately to keep on to this. We see a lot of Banelings queuing up here. And my question is, let's take a look at the units tab. Yes, we only have 2 Mutalisks right there, so those Thors taking out a lot of the Mutalisks. More fungal growth going down. We see the Banelings making contact with those biological units. They're just going out. All of those Marines just melted. We have one Thor kind of in a dangerous position right there. We do see the tank going ahead, getting surrounded. We see the Mutalisks harassing these medevacs. There are a lot of medevacs on the field right now, and they're going to try to hook up with these Marines. Marines stemming in there, going to be getting both of those Mutalisks. As we see the mouth of that Mutalisk is bouncing around right there. This Thor is kind of dangerously placed right there. You see he's way out in the open. Of course, all of these Marines coming down off of their high. We see, yes, the surround on the Thor. The Thor does go down. These Zerglings seeing that there are way too many Marines. Go ahead and run backward. These Marines are stemmed right now. We see more Banelings coming in here, trying to make something happen. Will it be enough? Will they be able to get to him? I do not believe so. There's only 4 left, and these guys are running for their lives, not splitting up. Oh, and we do see several contacts there. Half of those Marines do go down. We do see the Thor being surrounded by Haypro's Zerglings. These Zerglings are so effective against those Thors. And we do see Ultralisk Cavern finish up, and the chitinous plating coming. So we're going to see Ultralisk on the battlefield. Meanwhile, we do see a massive fleet of medevacs. It looks like we're going to see a drop. Not a very powerful drop, but we are going to see a drop nonetheless with a lot of medical backup. And we see more and more Marines streaming out. We're actually starting to see Marauders coming into play here. So Drewbie choosing to mix it up a little bit, and yes, that's right, Drewbie going for the gold. He is going to be dropping in the main of Haypro. Haypro stemming his... Haypro not able to really do anything as he only has a bunch of drones sitting in the back trying to protect that spire, as we see Drewbie stemming in here, trying to snipe, see what he can make happen, as he's trying to get all these drones, but we see a lot of Zergling coming in here. We see the Marines stem once again. There's not enough Zergling to make this happen. We see the Marauder getting caught up from the rest of his buddies. We see the Marines killing that Queen, but we see more Baneling coming in here. We see the medevacs pick up what they can. We see one Baneling actually detonate. It is highly effective. We actually saw one Ultras coming in there as Drewbie has not had enough. He's going to be coming back for more, and this Ultra is not going to have that. We see all these Marines going down there. I do believe that that was a mistake by Drewbie to actually come back in there, as he lost almost all of those Marines. I was going to say, that was a great drop because he did a lot of damage and suffered none himself, as we do see actually Drewbie retreating once again down here on the high yield of Haypro. Haypro doing a good job of keeping this high yield intact. Really, that's what you want to invest in. Let's go take a look at the income tab, as he is ever so slightly ahead. He has the same amount of harvesters, but because of the high yield, able to keep up with Drewbie, because he's had a hard time of keeping this natural, or this expansion right there. And we do actually see Drewbie knocking down the rocks. I'm not so sure why he's knocking the rocks down there. I guess he's going to do an SCV transfer, but he does have medevac. Not so sure about that, because we could see some Zergling run into this. But Root Drewbie knows better than I do, so he does go ahead and knock down those destructible rocks. So let's go ahead and look at the production side. Oh, look at this. We have Haypro rolling up, seeing that those rocks are gone. This is a lot many forces, so this could be a bad place for Root Drewbie, because he has nothing. And yes, the Drewbie command center go ahead and lifts up, and we have the forces of Drewbie. It looks like they're going to cut off this armor right here. So Haypro not in a really good position, as attack level 3 is going to be finishing. We do see all these units stemming. There will be a lot of death right there, but these Mutalisks not enough to kill all of them. And we do see these SCVs leisurely populating this mineral line. And we do see more. We see a bone growth going down on these units, as the infestors do not like to see that the brothers did die right there, because you do not want to let those infestors get that close. We see more Ultras showing up, but there's not enough Ultras. We see fungal growth once again. More Ultras trying to attack this planetary fortress, but Haypro not able to field a large enough army to get just that overwhelming force that you need with those Ultras, because Ultras can be picked off quite easily if they're by themselves, especially when you see the Marauders in there. Marauders able to take a lot more damage than those Marines. And we see them trying to focus down this hatchery. We see some Zerglings in here trying to augment the forces of these Ultras. We do see a lot of Marauder death up there, but there are just so many biological units here for Drewbie that we do see the Ultras die right there. So Haypro is going to lose this high yield. More Zerglings trying desperately to get in here. We see a couple of Zerglings coming out of the hatchery doing some DPS on there, and one Ultralist. This Ultras will fall if he's not careful, and yes, we do see the Ultras go down as just that big old mountain of meat. So Haypro distance mining on that high yield. Of course, the high yield was almost mined out, so not that big of a loss, but Haypro needs to hold on to this. I'd like to see some static defenses or something going on for that. Or, yes, we actually do see the hatchery queued up for right there, so that is going to be golden. Maybe trying to take this with a Nidus Worm. We do see 2 Vikings on the field, however, with Haypro not having any anti-air units. These Vikings just kind of sit there and look at them. Both units kind of looking at each other and waiting for waiting for the Vikings to VTOL down, just like Robotech. So Drewbie has a pretty impressive army. Look at all these medevacs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 medevacs. That's crazy, as he has so many biological units. And we do see the Vikings coming down there, choosing to lift off, as he did deny that hatchery right there. And we do see Drewbie moving out once again. We'll be trying to take out this expansion right here. Does Haypro have enough? I do not believe so, but it looks like he's going to try to engage anyway. We do see Fungal Growth going down on the units, and we do see a surround. We see the tank sieging up, trying to do the best they can. And yes, these Ultras just not able to do enough. Those tusks are just not brutal enough, as we see all of them go down to this massive ball of Drewbie. And Haypro, not able to hold on, was about to crumble, so he does GG out of it. And we do see Haypro getting knocked out of the winner's bracket. So that was pretty intense. Scrap Station really giving us a good game here. So guys, I really hope you enjoyed this. It was a rather long game, which is pretty action-packed and intense, as we just constantly sparring up 2 great players here. And we saw Haypro just not able to really get that critical mass of an army. So guys, thank you for joining me. Let me know how you feel about the cast, and I hope you join me in the future. So as always, citizens, stay safe.